Știu. Știu.
Știu.
Știu.
Știu.
Știu.
Bună ziua, sunt Bogdan Alecu și bine ați venit la o nouă emisiune ZF Live. Astăzi, în prima parte a emisiunii, discutăm despre piața imobiliară și planurile SPEEDWELL pentru București și Timișoara, iar în partea a doua a emisiunii vom discuta despre condusul defensiv, un element foarte important care trebuie luat în calcul, cursurile de pilotaj defensiv, mai ales că străzile din România devin din ce în ce mai periculoase. Revenim însă la piața imobiliară, îl avem alături de noi pe Jan DEMEYERE, cofondator al SPEEDWELL, o companie imobiliară care a dezvoltat Record Park în Cluj, acum a demarat proiectul Paltim din Timișoara și, desigur, continuă investițiile la The Ivy în partea de nord a capitalei. Hello, Jean. Thank you for being here with us today.
Good morning, Bogdan. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Jean, we got the press release regarding the project Paltim in Timişoara.
Yes.
What's new? What's happening there now? Is Strabag beginning construction of the project?
Yes. So we signed with Strabag and they're starting the works this week. And of course, Paltim is a little bit a typical SPEEDWELL project, I would say. It was an old industrial site, and we bought a site around 15,000 square meters. And we're going to develop there a mix again of residential offices, small retail. And as we did also in Cluj, there's always a part of reconversion and of restoration of the site. And again, we're going to do this also in Paltim. There's an old villa that we will restore, an interior courtyard again with some industrial heritage on it, and then 2 new residential blocks and 1 office block of 15,000 square meters, all on the same site. And we start now with the first block. This is around 123 units.
The first block of residential.
Yes, of residential. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Has the project changed in any way, considering all the costs that have gone up, especially in construction?
No. I think we will have to absorb those costs as developer. What we do not want to do is decrease the quality. I think also the project has an amazing good location close to the city center. We also see the proof that the market can absorb it, because more than half of the units of the first block have been sold today. So that's also very, very, very comforting. But again, we have to absorb it, and also we still see that the market can absorb some price raises for the moment. So yes, but decreasing the quality is not in our SPEEDWELL standard. That's not what we want.
Will the other apartments become more expensive in the next few months?
Well, I think that's what we're all fighting with the same problem for the moment. Inflation is high, prices keep on raising for the moment. Okay, they have been a little bit more stable the last month, but yeah, it has to be absorbed by the market. And what I always do, I compare a little bit the Romanian market to the rest of Europe, and specifically the Belgian market. If you compare the Romanian market is still affordable, and housing prices are still not so high. We see in other countries they are much higher, and also I think the valuation of real estate is still on a lower level. So I think there's still room for a buffering of the price. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's either the market has to absorb it, or we have to stop building, because the construction costs are there today, so it has to be absorbed. If the market will not absorb it, it has no reason to continue building.
Mm-hmm. How do you see the Timişoara market? Because, for example, we saw now that Timişoara is the second largest housing market in Romania after Bucharest. It's becoming more dynamic than the Cluj area. How do you see it? Will it have a bigger potential in the next few years?
Yes, yes, I strongly believe in Timişoara. I think it's also not only a very nice city, like you said, also the dynamics are there for the moment. We also see offices more coming into Timişoara. So when offices bring also people for the residential part, but I think that it's becoming a very interesting market and also a very dynamic market from residential point of view. As I told you, sales are going very well today. But again, it all depends of location, kind of product that you want. And if I compare Timişoara to Cluj, Timişoara is like a flat city, so it can build more outside of the city, can expand more. But again, we believe more in central locations, and that's why we bought this old Poltim site.
And when will this first building be completed?
I think in 1.5 years, everything will be ready.
So,
and then we start immediately with the second phase and also the offices.
A second phase will be also residential or office?
Yes, residential and office. So we have 3 separate blocks. The first block is the residential now, then the second block, and the total number of units is around 236 units. And then also the office we would like to start, but because we really believe in this mixed. So people working there can live there. They have the retail compound there. They're very close to the Bega River. They can go on foot to the city center, but the mix has to be there. And we also believe now that the office market is also ready. We have the first requests for space to rent. So it's interesting.
When are you going to start and finish the office building?
The plan is to start the office building next year. Okay, we're also looking a little bit at how the prices are going, construction prices are going. But mid of next year, and it will also take 1.5 years to 2 years to finish it completely.
So even if we might have a small crisis now, the office building will be ready when it will cool down.
Yeah. If you say small crisis, I'm happy.
I'm being optimistic. My next question will be to you. How do you see the second half of this year?
Yeah, well, first, a small crisis. I think real estate has always been quite cyclical. So I'm 55 now. I had some crisis in my life, and we always survive to it. The thing is to be careful. The thing is to again build quality, and quality keeps on selling at a certain time. Of course, if there would be complete collapse of the market and nobody would do anything anymore, of course that will influence our plans. We have to be careful in everything what we do. And to answer the second part of your question, what will happen the next 6 months of the year, I really have no clue. I'm also honest. Again, my experience over all these years, but we have never been in such, let's say, murky waters, I call it. It's very unclear, and you feel it on every level. People are doubting how will it proceed, how will it go, what will happen in Ukraine. Again, also the political elements are adding to this uncertainty, which is not nice. Again, I also mentioned that Taiwan is now on top of it. We have again COVID, so it's really a mix of cocktail, and also people are getting afraid and scared, and I think they should not be, but we have to stay careful. But in SPEEDWELL, we always have done this. When we did a project, we always phase it. If we sell a certain part, okay, then the market is ready for the second part. We're not overdoing it, and I think this is the way to go for the next 6 months. Just be careful, look at the market, adapt as soon as possible where you see changes. Interest rates going up, what will happen? What will happen with the construction prices? What will happen with the sales prices? That's very murky to be sure where we're going.
Will it help you for having an integrated project also with residential, office and commercial, and being close to the city center? Is that safer than building, I don't know, maybe outside the city?
Well, safer, I would not say. I think there's also a market for housing outside of the city. There always has been a market, and then some people just want to live outside of the city, and I think the market can provide it for them. But of course, my personal favorite would be, in fact, like you said, close to the city center and a mixed project, because it brings dynamic. It's life. The quality of an urban environment can be amazing for a project, and I still believe that's the way to go. Yes.
Usually nowadays in the big cities of Romania, there's always a problem with the construction in the city center because you don't always get the authorization in time.
Yeah.
Did you have any issues with the city council or the city hall of Timişoara?
No, it went okay. I have to be honest. That went okay. It took a long time. These are not small projects. We're talking about big investments, and then a lot of square meters, like 45,000 square meters in the center of the city is a lot to build, and it has to go through all the AVs and all the steps, and it has to be talked about, discussed with the city hall, what are their needs, what are their views. So I don't have any problem with that. But we also have to talk about the elephant in the room. There is an issue in general with permitting and times of permitting, especially in Bucharest. And I think I understand the reasons. Again, the quality has to be there. We have to go through all the different steps. From an urbanistic point of view, I don't have any issue with that. But on the other hand, I think if there are quality products, please support them and make them go as they should go on a regular basis and on all the times necessary.
Is it me, or for example, I want to ask you, in cities like Cluj or Timișoara, are the clients more, I don't know, looking for something different and they have higher expectations than in Bucharest, or is just a smaller market, so every project is much more visible there than in Bucharest? I'm asking you because, for example, in Cluj, you've built Record Park, which is a lovely project. Now in Timișoara, you're building Paltim, also a project that mixes together the new and the old. In Timișoara also we have Isho, which is a very nice project also. And I feel like every new project in cities like Timișoara, they bring something new to the market.
Yes. I would say it's also a smaller market. I think also in Bucharest we have this nice examples. I think there are a lot of nice projects also being done. But of course the market is much bigger. Maybe we only focus on sometimes we focus too much on the bad things, also honest. But I have the impression what we started in Cluj was a little bit new for the market again. That mixed thing, it works. That's what we feel. It works from every point of view. Like the best reward you can get as a developer is if you see that a project that you have built starts to live. And starts to live, that means that people sit outside and they meet each other. We have TED Talks now in Cluj on the outside, so it's working. And I think that's why these projects gets noticed.
And talking about Bucharest, you've launched the third phase of the IV.
Yes. Also, third phase is also now under sale. Of course, it's there is also an issue there with permitting. We have a part of the project that was approved in PUZ and still is not on the city council. That's too bad. But fortunately, we can continue on the southern part with all the blocks we are doing for the moment. Yes.
With the offices, Miro is completed. It's rented.
Yes, completely. So we have still around 3,000 square meters left for the moment. So the rest of the building has been completely let with very interesting tenants. KPMG, as you know, also Rover is there. We have just signed also with High Sky. KOS is also a tenant. So it's a very nice mix. We are also there with our own offices. And also the project is also starting to live, the community. And we hope to, in fact, let's say, rent out the last 3,000 square meters because the visibility is great on that location.
Is Băneasa area becoming a new point of interest? It's becoming more dynamic because since Miro and the Ivy, we didn't have many new projects in that area.
Yeah, we also noticed this. That means that we chose well the location to start building there. But we see a lot of dynamics around that area. Yes, a lot of people are starting to buy land and to develop there. I think there are a lot of assets also there. You have a lot of greenery. It's close to the city. I think it's a very nice place to live. And as you mentioned, not only on the part of Vanessa, but you're very close to the airport. It has all amenities, according to me, and I think it's a very nice place to live. Yeah.
And hopefully they will have also the metro.
Well, that's the only point. Yeah, that's the only point missing. If the metro will be there, it will be in a more crowded area, I think, today. But I heard the contract was signed. We're waiting to see the first dig in the earth of the metro. I don't know when.
Yeah, we're also waiting. How well did the apartments sold in the Ivy?
Ivy sold very well, to be honest. Also very, very fast, thanks to our, let's say, sales team. They're doing an amazing job on that one, and there is a huge interest still today for the apartments there. So I think around 90% of the first block have been sold. Also, the second block is on a very high sold area, and now the third phase we see again a new interest in the project. Yeah. But it's a very nice project also. I think if you look at it, at the concept, the different blocks there is a park on the ground floor, no car traffic on the ground floor. It's really a very nice project.
Are people that are working in the Miro bought apartments in the Ivy?
Yes, exactly. Again, that idea, you live close to your work. Which is nice, which in fact you save time from traffic. And we see there's an interest also. A lot of people bought from Miro in the Ivy. That's true.
I'm curious, do you have any inside info you can share with us regarding the future project at Griro? Yes,
Griro is it's a big one. Griro is the biggest project that SPEEDWELL ever did. But it's a project that lies very, very close to my heart, not as an architect and as an urbanist and also as a developer. It's 9.5 hectares. It's an old industrial site. The location is amazing. From my point of view, it's close to the center. It's close to the railway, to the, let's say, Gara de Nord. We have the Grevice, which is also a very important axe going into the city and going out of the city. For the moment, the site is abandoned. It has no use, so it's just there. Of course, we have to clean the area. Everything has to be prepared for the future project. And the project that we will do there is again the mix of offices, retail, residential, but also food markets we want to implement. We have interest also from a hotel to be at that location. So we'll take it to a real mixed project on a higher scale. And again, the site, we did a complete historical study of the site. Also, there are very interesting buildings on the site, and we want to keep and we want to refurbish them. So again, there will be a mix of the respect for the history of Griro, keeping structures, and then implementing with new contemporary architectures. We have a lot of architects who are also interested to work together on that project. But what we did for Griro, and that's the main difference with other projects, the project has such a scale that we started from urbanism. So we worked with an Italian urbanist called Secchi. And then the lady that was here was Paola Vigano. She came to visit the site. She was really very impressed. And we started really looking, how can we implement the, let's say, the public spaces? Where do we take pedestrians? What do we do with car traffic? What do we do with services? And these were also the questions that we are answering now. And together with the authorities, we went to the Urbanistic Commission, and it was quite okay. We're still waiting for the report, but we want to really make this a project on European level of quality.
Mm-hmm. Did you receive any suggestions from the City Hall, from the mayor?
Yes, suggestions. I think that's nice. Okay, the mayor is always worried that the services that will be on the site are also, let's say, good for the community. And then we talk about kindergartens, we talk about open spaces, we talk about parks. And these have all been implemented in the project today. And we're on the same level there. I think we both want quality projects. We don't want to create a ghost town where nobody lives. Again, if you make a project that really that you feel a soul, and not only of the future but also of the past in it, then it works. And I think we have, with Griro, we have all the assets to do it. I hope to show you, if we get a step further, I will hope to show you the renderings that we have made for the project itself. But it's really looking amazing.
How many buildings can you salvage?
For the moment, we're also looking at structure. There will be, I think we'll salvage like 30% of the old buildings, and the old structures will be there.
Mm-hmm. Will it be like Paltim or Record Park?
I think this Griro is another level. You will see, it's another level. It's really it's existing old structures with brickwork where you build new structures inside. It's really something. I think we don't have a project like that in Romania for the moment.
Mm-hmm. Can you have the power to change the entire area around Gara de Nord? Because usually when I go to any Western city, the train station, it's a very important hotspot.
Exactly.
But in Bucharest, it's not exactly. It's not the cleanest area, not the best seen area in Bucharest. Do you think it will have the power to change all the area around it, and maybe also attract other investors to build quality products?
Yeah, I completely acknowledge what you say about the regions around stations. We had the same thing also in Belgium a few years ago. If you had a train station, you thought about, okay, dirty areas, not well maintained. What we see today, and not only in Belgium, but I'm thinking all over Europe, is that these like hubs that you're saying are becoming very important, because it's also the quality of the transport has been increased. So if you take the train, you go to a city, you don't have to look for parking, you go immediately to your work, and
exactly.
This area is becoming very, very important. So I think it's also, together with the authorities, if you increase or improve the public transport, I think the area will transform for sure.
But we also need some investments in Gara de Nord, the train station, because it's not...
Yeah, I agree with you. If you come out of the Gara de Nord, you have the building there that's completely, let's say, almost ruined. The old hotel, very nice building, by the way. Again, the square is also still full of traffic. Change that a bit, make it a green square, make it open, and things will start to evolve. But I'm sure that Griro will have a positive effect on the area. Yeah, and that's really what we hope. Bring culture on that location. Yeah.
Yeah, and if I'm thinking about it, we also have the office buildings in Orhidea, which is pretty close to Gara de Nord.
Yeah.
Or projects like Fosta Fabrică, also near Basarab, which are changing bit by bit the entire area.
Yeah, it is. And with Griro, we have the scale to do it. I think I cannot show you too much today, but if we have a next talk, I will talk you through the whole design and the development of the project. But I think it has a lot of potential, and it will change a lot of the area.
I'm curious, did you have similar projects in Belgium or in other countries in Western Europe, projects that have changed an area of the city?
For sure. Yes, I think the impact can be huge. It can be huge if you have a project that's working and it creates a certain hype. And then the impact is huge. What we normally see, it always comes up from the people. We see a lot of areas in a city where you see are a little bit behind and not well maintained, and then these areas go down in price a bit. They attract younger people, they attract artists, they attract small business people who want to say, okay, I have to look at the penny, but I have to live. And then they start a hype around that location, and the location completely changes then the whole area, because then that becomes interesting and the prices go up again. I think we have the same for Griro. We have really at that location the potential to make it a very, very hyped area.
What's your advice for other investors interested in the Romanian market? Is it safer now than it was in 2008, 2009 when we had the previous crisis?
Yeah.
And what's the situation now from your point of view?
Interesting question. Advices. I think, is it safer? Yes, it is. I think it's a mature market, more mature market. And also I have to congratulate also the banks in Romania. They always have been very careful, and they have been careful throughout the time. Again, looking at the rest of Europe where interest rates went very, very, very low. In Romania, they didn't go so low. It was still also a lot of equity was needed to develop a project. So that's a very careful approach, and then now that pays off. So for me, Romania is safe today, yes, but we have to be careful. We have to be careful. We just have to be careful and cautious and think very well about what we do. I just hope that all the permitting issues, I hope we can solve them very fast, because the effects, according to me, on long term are can be disastrous. I'm not joking about this. If you think that almost no square meters of offices will come into the market in 2 years' time, what will happen with new companies coming to Bucharest? Where will they go? They all need an ESG strategy. It has to be carbon neutral. Okay, where do they go? Do we have these old buildings? We will have new buildings. What will happen with the construction companies if there is no more work on the market? Again, will our workers that we have in Romania, will they go again to Germany and other countries? We will lose them again. So there is a huge impact, and I think we should be able to discuss this with the authorities, and we have to find the balance. We have to find the balance between quality, sustainability, greenery, but there is always also an economical balance in there that we have to take into account, and I hope we can solve that issue very soon.
But for example, is this also an opportunity for other cities in Romania to attract investors, or they don't have the capacity of Bucharest when it comes to employees and new projects? I'm thinking about Iași or Timişoara or even Cluj.
I have always believed in those cities, university cities, and like Iași, Cluj, Timişoara, as you mentioned. These are cities with potential, but don't underestimate the power of a metropole like Bucharest. And it's a big city. It's 2.5-3 million people. I always hear different numbers, but it is a big city and it has a lot of potential, and it will stay like an attracting pole for a lot of people.
So we need also here big projects to attract investors and to offer them office buildings, spaces for them to work.
Yes, again, that is unfortunately there is not so much room anymore in Bucharest itself. So we are also thinking about refurbishing old offices maybe into residential. Is that something that we can do? But then you have again the parking compound which has to be followed. So it's quite difficult. But I think Bucharest stays a metropole, and there is a lot of place to do something. The second question is, how do you change the city? Do you densify? Do you want to pull it outside of the city? Okay, these are different ideas. I'm not the urbanist to think about those things. But if you expand and you make satellite cities, which works in certain countries, but then you need public transport. Otherwise, you're killing the city just due to traffic. And if you think traffic, then again you have gases. It's unhealthy. So urbanism is a science. And I think what I would advise to the authorities also is to sit together with people who did projects in other cities, who looked at the general plan. Okay, how can the city evolve in a safe, healthy way that also gives something back to the citizens? And these exist, these people, and just not saying, okay, we throw away the whole plan of the past, like the PUG, we just throw it in the garbage bin and we start all over. That will not work.
Which is your favorite city in Europe?
I have a lot. It's a good question. No, I like Paris very much. I like Barcelona. Barcelona is an amazing city. I think every metropole, and if you look at Denmark and everything, and Copenhagen, what they are doing, it's absolutely fabulous. They really did those, from urbanistic point of view, they took certain locations which were lacking behind. They implemented a new project on that location. Is it either a cultural or a museum? and then you see the city developing. But it's a clear strategy. It's not only architecture. It's what do you do with traffic? What do you do with the streets? Where do you put the greenery? Where do you densify? Do you densify? These are all questions that have to be answered, but you can answer them, and if you answer them correctly, the effects are astonishing.
Yeah. Yes, they are. And we are also curious what will happen in the next few years in Bucharest. What will the authorities decide?
Yeah, okay, we're ready to discuss with them, but I think for certain projects we have the first seed to plant to show that that real quality is possible. And urbanism.
Yes. Thank you, Jan. Thank you for the interview. And we are waiting to see the plans for Griro and what will happen in Paltim, in Timişoara.
Thank you very much, Bogdan. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much, you too. Noi luăm o scurtă pauză și revenim alături de cel de-al doilea invitat.
Fiindcă aeroporturile sunt prea aglomerate, i-am invitat pe liderii companiilor din România la o altfel de călătorie, în timp. Fie că doar și-au imaginat sau au făcut chiar și pași într-o cu totul altă direcție de carieră, viețile unora dintre cele mai puternice figuri din business-ul românesc ar fi putut arăta cu totul altfel. De la antreprenorul care are pe mână cel mai mare business românesc, dar care visa să fie programator, până la investitorul în tech care voia să ajungă în cosmos și crede că visul lui se va împlini, vă invităm și pe voi în 30 de universuri imaginate în copilărie sau adolescență de unii dintre cei mai cunoscuți oameni de afaceri de pe piața locală. România rămâne o țară atractivă pentru investitori, dar în ciuda acestui fapt a ratat investiții importante în favoarea altor țări din regiune, în special Ungaria. Cu o infrastructură de transport la pământ, investitorii în producție au ales de multe ori alte țări, chiar dacă forța de muncă accesibilă și pregătită sau infrastructura IT din România au fost mai dezvoltate. Este doar o percepție faptul că România este ocolită de investiții. După o serie de experiențe antreprenoriale, dar și artistice, Andrei Sota a ales să se concentreze pe Signal Sigma, o platformă axată pe consilierea și pe informarea celor atrași de investițiile pe piața de capital. Ce l-a atras aici? Atât corectitudinea, cât și incertitudinea bursei, spune el. Canicula face oamenii irascibili. Valurile de caniculă devin tot mai lungi, mai intense și mai sincronizate în diferite părți ale planetei. Fenomenele meteo din ce în ce mai extreme influențează comportamentul uman, obiceiurile de consum, piețele, alegerile politice și multe altele. Dacă după o vară a frustrărilor urmează o iarnă a nemulțumirii. Citiți despre toate aceste subiecte, dar și despre multe altele în cel mai nou număr al Business Magazine.